Alright, so we'll do a quick video lesson here on sort of the nitty-gritty of level 2. So, and this is also going to be on hotkeys. So we'll get a couple things here, try to cover both these topics. So, first of all, when we're looking at the level 2, I know there's some people in chat that don't use level 2, but level 2 is extremely important for me and the way I trade breakouts. Now, when I'm trading these breakouts, especially like, what was a good one yesterday? It was YY we were watching. Let's see, I'll pull back the chart on this. We were watching this for a breakout over 78, and you can see how we have this ascending, we have this wedge pattern forming right here. Now it did drop down at the close on on Tuesday, and then it popped back up on Wednesday. And so right at this key level of 77.98, 78, that's where I'm watching the level 2, and I'm watching the number of shares sitting on the ask, and I'm watching the orders going through, and I want to see big buyers coming in taking down size. One of the things with high frequency trading is that all these 100 share orders, these are for the most part, these are computer shifting shares. These are algorithmic traders. The institutional traders, the high frequency traders. Just check LO. Yeah, LO, that does look good. So we'll throw that one up. Now, what I like to see if I'm getting ready to buy something is I want to see some big volume coming in, more than just 100 share blocks. I want to see 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares. I want to see that there's retail traders like me coming in taking down size to move this. Now Pandora, this is the stock we're looking at here, this is a this is manipulated and traded a lot by the big guys, so it's not quite as easy to trade because it will chop around a lot. So let's take a look at LO here. So this one, we've got this pretty big extension bar on the 15-minute chart. 5-minute also popping up pretty quickly. We've got a top just under 65. So this is one that I would look to potentially get long above 65. And I would watch it basically when it gets up to that 65 level. I would look to see if the volume is going to start coming in, if we're going to start seeing a lot of buyers. So in terms of preparing my order, what I do is I use hotkeys. So I'll press my hotkeys are, I press shift, and then 1 through 10 is 1,000 to 10,000 shares. So if I want to take a starter, you can see 64.50, that's my order. That's above the ask. It's a limit order above the ask. And I can move this, I have it automatically set to 5 cents above the ask. So I can move it up with my right and left keys. If I press shift, it'll move it up by 10-cent blocks. And then that way I can start to find, okay, I'm willing to pay 65.05. Let's just say, for example. So I'll have that order live. Or I'll have it ready. I don't send it until I start to see the volume coming in right at that level. Now, if I use my up and down keys, I can switch the routing of my order. So if I'm looking at something and I'm afraid I might not get filled, I'm going to choose NASDAQ or ARCA because those are direct routing. If I do something like LSPT, that's going to route through Lightspeed's internal routing program, and it's going to be a little bit slower. It's cheaper, but it's a little bit slower. So when I'm worried about not getting filled, I'm going to go and try to send this on ARCA. So these are all set on hotkeys so I can quickly adjust. Now I also have it set so I can adjust my position size, either by 1,000 share blocks or by 100 share blocks. So I have all of this laid out on my keyboard so it's very fluid and I can move very quickly. So as soon as I start to see the buying coming in, I can take a starter or if it looks like it's gonna go, I might take full size. So let's watch LO here because we've got this flat top happening right under 65. So is something like this, in terms of managing my risk, I want to keep my risk within my parameters. So for me, it's a $200 max risk. So if I'm going to risk 200 bucks, most likely watching the price action here, I'm going to have to probably, if I try to get in at 65, my stop is probably going to be about 80. So 20 cents. So I could take a starter of 500 shares, and then I could double up if it starts to go. Or if I want to be aggressive, I could take 1,000 shares, and if it starts to rip right away, double up to 2,000, and then I have to stop out very quickly if it doesn't break. So again, I'm going to have my order ready just slightly above the ask, so I won't worry about getting a partial fill if it does rip. I'll get my full order, and then I can fire that order and immediately send a second order. So let's see how this one develops. This is a 1 minute flag, 1 minute flag pattern. We don't have the 15-minute or the 5-minute lined up, but we do have a 1 minute flag pattern. So this is a decent one to watch. I don't use all or nothing. I will accept partial fills. I have no, I want to get as much as I can, and sometimes you'll see your order getting filled. It's 500, 600, 700, 800, and then it pauses for a second, and then all of a sudden you get the rest. If you do an all or nothing, it slows down the order. So I don't do all or nothing. And then if I want to bail out, my hotkey for bailout is Control Z. It's like the old undo key, like when you just made a mistake. Control Z. So that's my bailout. Now this is saying 100 shares, and you can see it's giving it a 10 cents below the bid. So it's going to be a marketable order that will fill as low as 10 cents below the bid. And if the bid drops, then I might not get a full fill on my order, and I might have to wait a second. And the reason it says 100 shares here is because that's just the default, because what it's supposed to do is take my full position and sell it, regardless of what my position size is, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, it'll take my full position and sell it. Okay, so this is coming in a little bit. So I have my sort of bailout button, that's Control Z. Control X is to bail out of half my position. So that's sometimes if I'm getting a little bit, like this doesn't quite feel right. I maybe have a little too much size. I want to give it a chance to form. I'm gonna bail out a half, and I'm just gonna do a market order because I'm just a little nervous. PCAR, this has a nice 5-minute setup here. So then on the flip side, when I'm in the profit, when something has moved up, I have a couple ways I can sell. On the one hand, I can go ahead and use my Control Z or Control X to just bail out of half or full. But if I want to be more aggressive, what I do is I press Alt, and Alt in my hotkeys means putting shares on the ask. That's going to be more aggressive. So I'll say Alt, and the shares are up on the ask. Now I don't have a position here. Control Z and Control X are marketable limit orders. I'm answering a question for Mac here. He's in the chat room. Yeah, so those are marketable limit orders. They're not market orders. They're 10 cents below the bid. So if this thing drops 50 cents, I won't get filled. I'll be sitting still 10 cents below the bid when I hit the order. Now, for some reason, these ARCA orders should be, I'm not sure if, I don't usually use this computer for my trading. I only am on it to do the video lesson. This hotkey might be a little bit messed up, but what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to throw half quarter, or full up on the ask to start getting filled some of my shares. So I'll throw my shares up on the ask, and one of the things you want to do is try to sell through ARCA or NASDAQ, because you'll get rebates. Just the way you have to pay when you route your orders through them when you're buying shares at the market, they'll give you money back when you sell. Now, if you sell at market, they don't give you money. You have to pay them again. But if you anything that's not a marketable order, they will give you money for. So if I put my shares up on the ask and they have to sit there for a few minutes before they get filled, or even a few seconds, I'll get rebates for that. And it's a small rebate. It's a half penny per share. You know, so 10,000 shares would be an extra $50. You know, so hey, that's not bad if you're adding liquidity. You know, it's something like that. It varies broker to broker. But adding liquidity on the one hand helps you, you know, make up a little bit on the commissions that you're spending, and two, selling on the ask helps you get the best price. So I have both these hotkeys ready to go. If I'm a little nervous, I could just bail out on the basically on the bid, which is a marketable limit order, or I can have some sitting up on the ask, and I can be doing both. Now this is the size of my level 2. Obviously, some people want to have level 2 stretched out so they can see, you know, see more of it. You know, I keep mine pretty small, especially when I'm doing breakout trading. The times where I'm maybe more curious about what's further down would be a stock that trades a little thin, like Zillow, or maybe GWPH, because I might want to see, well, you know, where do we have some size holding this up or holding it down. But beyond that, for most of the trades that we do, we try to trade pretty liquid stocks that are trading on heavy volume. So with those stocks, we're not going to be super concerned about looking down the whole level 2. So let's see. So here on this one, you see an 8,500 share block went through, a 2,500 share block went through. So those are you know, bigger size, 500, 5,000, whatever, 5,400 shares that went through. So you see on this one a mix of retail and institutional trading, the high frequency trading. Let's look at PetSmart. This one's trading on pretty heavy volume. So I'll do I'll do more video lessons when we actually have a setup that we can watch trading and, you know, see how it plays out, and I can talk through it. But for this one, I just really wanted to go over kind of the the nitty-gritty of setting up, you know, which hotkeys I use, how I execute my orders, and how I use level 2. So, you know, for level 2, I always want to see if I'm buying, I want to see other buyers, and I want to see the shares going through on the ask. I want to see them taking down shares on the ask. You know, if I'm going to short, I want to see people punching the bid and dropping it down. So I watch these sales going through, and when I see something like this, look at how many people are sitting at 10. So there were a lot of people sitting up there at 10, and that holds it down. So if you see the ask getting really, really heavy at a certain level, that can make you cautious on the one hand. On the one hand, you're cautious because you're thinking there's a lot of people holding this down. On the other hand, if someone comes in with big volume and starts taking down size, once those shares come out, you can get a big pop. And so we always look for that kind of thing. We look for something to be sitting heavy, like, let's see, Gmcr. Gmcr, this has been a really good trader in the past. Keep it on watch for a second. Flipping back over to LO. LO, if this was trading up at 65, say we're at 64.99, and you see 20,000 shares sitting at 65, and then you start seeing someone taking down size. Now you've got 9,000, 8,000, 7,000, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. As it starts to come down, that's when I start taking size. I start joining the buyers. Now, right before it breaks, if someone comes up and throws another 10,000 shares up there, I bail. I get out. So, okay, someone's holding it down. But if that doesn't happen, then when it goes down to zero, you're going to get that pop. And it's going to pop over the number, and that's where we can get some really quick winning trades. We did it on GWPH. It popped 80 cents. Gmcr, this has been known to give some really good pops as well. Okay, so let's watch GMCR. So GMCR got a lot on the daily chart. So I'm going to watch this at 127. Okay, so what I would do is, I'm not going to take an order on this because I want to do the video lesson, but I would watch this for a long over 127 because it's a momentum stock and we've got high volume. And I know there's been some news circulating on GMCR in the past few weeks, Coca-Cola takeover, stuff like that. So this is a chance also, right, to talk about how do you combat stocks that have a big spread. And this is really just an issue of risk management. If you've got 20-30 cent spread, you have to adjust your size accordingly. You have to think, okay, this thing could drop 30 cents or more. So you need to take a little bit less size. I'm just going to adjust this really quickly. Save, quit. Alright, sorry. Okay, so you see what we did? We got this high of 87. So we came up, we start getting close to the figure, tapping it, and coming back in. Alright, so I'm just watching this here. Got a little bit of sideways price action here. Volume is coming down a little bit, which is okay during the flag consolidation. The volume's lighter, but you want to see it come back in on the break. And GMCR only has 350,000 shares traded, so it's, you know, a little on the light side. Okay, so the high here, we've got a high at 50. We've got two 1 minute candle highs at 50. So this is a spot where you could potentially, if you want to be really aggressive, get long at 51. Okay, so let's say we got long here. Okay, so what I would want to do is I would want to double on the break of highs, which is 87. But I would stop out. I would stop out at 40. I would take a 10-cent loss if it comes back down and breaks 50 cents. So I want to see it get above 87. Really what I want to see is it get above 127. So what I would probably do is hold off on doubling until it breaks 127 and then double. And yeah, it's going to throw off my average, but above, okay, so right here, I'm watching the level 2. We've got 10, it looks like 1,000 shares sitting at 99, 1,000 at 00. So I've got an order ready.
Buy.
Got my order ready to fire. I would set it at 05, just a little bit above the ask. Now since
Buy.
okay, so one of the things that we'll notice sometimes is that tap up at the figure and then we pull in. We come up and tap it, we pull in, tap and pull in.
Buy.
Now because I was being aggressive and getting long down here
Buy.
on the flag break, the first candle to make a new high on this consolidation on a momentum play, I would have a good average. If I didn't add here and I'm waiting just for the break of 127, then I'm not in yet. I'm just waiting. I've got an order ready at 127.05 to either double or add my first size. Okay, so I take it there. You have to be very, very quick. Now, when I take something on a 127 on a whole dollar break, it needs to go immediately. So I'm already a little nervous because for a moment there it dipped down and it was 126. It was straddling the figure. So some of the bid was below and the ask was above. So I get a little hesitant there. And then this is where I throw, cancel that. This is where I throw half my size up at, 26 or 27 and start trying to scale out. My average is 75 from the double.
Buy.
I would adjust my stop now to 94. So I could adjust it to 99, but just because we're not quite as far above, I would probably have it at 94, just so if it did dip down just for a second and pop back up, I wouldn't get stopped out. So I'm watching this here. I wouldn't use a live stop. It would be a mental stop. It'd be a mental stop. I'm ready. Basically, my order would be ready here, and I'd have my order ready here probably at 85.
Buy.
Okay, now I'm filled a little bit on the ask, so now I've got some profit, right? So I'm going to keep watching it.
Buy.
I've still got half size. Getting over 127.50 is a key level. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll throw some shares at 127.49 or 48 or 47, just under that key level. So I would do that to be more aggressive. I would take a little size. So say I had 1,000 shares, I would put. I'm down to 500 now because I already sold half. Maybe I'll sell 100 or 200 at 48, 47. Try to get filled because this might tap this level and then pull in. Right, so I want to get as much profit as I can. And this is one of the cases where I might say, you know what, 42 is the bid, I'm going to mark it. Because look at how quickly that dropped. So sometimes that's what I'll do. If I'm not getting filled on the ask, if I hadn't gotten filled, but the bid is up there tight, that's when sometimes I'll say, you know what, I'm just going to use my, my Control X key and just take out half of my size. So my stop on this would be 127, 126.94 still. Keep it down there. I want to keep at least some size in this if we continue to run. Now the low of the last 5-minute candle is 126.64, which is that's below my average. So I'm not going to take a loss on this. This is too extended for me to use that as my stop. So I just have to be more aggressive. In a perfect world, yeah, I want to use the last 5-minute candle, but I can't do that here. We have a couple candles coming down, that's okay. We want to look for the first one to make a new high. The same as we did here. We have a couple coming down, first one to make a new high. We move up. And you can see we're riding along moving averages. So I don't use moving averages that much, but if I start to see things like this just breaking down quickly and breaking through them, that's a sign to, step aside. Okay, so we want to see this get above 30. Okay, so 33. So now it's breaking the flag back to the upside. The power should come in. We should get above 50.
Deadlift and beyond shares moving on volume spiking to 59.
All right, I'll look at that in a second. All right, so now we've got the flag, and now we're moving back up. So with this type of trade, down, if I'm at this point from my original 1,000 shares, I'm down to 250 because I've scaled out a little in like right around 26, 27, 30, scaled out a little more at 49. Now I'm down to 250 shares. I can start adjusting my stop and just moving my stop up. So now I'm going to set my stop right here at the low of the last flag. Right? I'm just going to keep moving it up. And maybe I'll take out 50 shares up here. I'll take out a little bit more size, and I'll keep paying myself. All right, Bed Bath & Beyond, that's a 500. The first thing I look at when I look at news is the amount of volume. 500,000 shares, that's big volume. All right, so we'll go back on GMCR in a few minutes. My stop on that is 127.12. Yeah, 127.12. That's the stop, and let's say to be conservative, I'm going to try to take out another 125 shares up here somewhere above 50. So whether it's 55 or 67 or 70, I'd be taking out a little bit more size up here. So now my stop is still 127.12 for 125 shares. And I'll make a live stop on that because now I'm down to like an eighth of my original position. So I can throw a live stop on there, and it's not gonna. I'm not gonna worry about slippage. It's not like 1,000 shares or something big. Okay, so let's look at the BBY, Bed Bath & Beyond, BBBY. Okay, so we've got some news on this. I heard on my streaming news radio. High was 59.85. So the first thing I look on these is getting long above the highs. And it looks like there's a low on the daily chart of 59.89. There's another low, 60.10. So this, I'd be ready to take half size at 86. This is a news play. It's riskier. I have a $200 stop. That's 40 cents on 500 shares. So if this does pull back quickly, I can get out. Now, could I take 1,000 and take a 20-cent stop? I could do that, but I want to give myself room to double up or possibly average down if I need to. Alright, so the other thing that I look at when I'm looking at news, the initial spike, 300,000 shares, the volume is drying up here. Volume is really tapering off quickly. So when we look at the 5-minute chart, we're going to have this massive volume spike, and then the next candle right now is looking very low. So that makes me a little nervous that maybe this isn't going to have the power and the momentum to get back up to the highs and to break the highs. Put my order at 88. I'll put it at 89. Okay, I'm watching this. 89. If I get filled at 89, my stop is going to be 69. I'll use a 20-cent stop. I'll risk $100. We've got a lot of volume happening here. See, and then you get that big bearish candle. It just doesn't quite have enough momentum. It doesn't look like to get above that. Alright, so let's go check GMCR. Okay, so GMCR, we're still holding our stops down here. Now we've had a little bit of flagging here. So now I'm going to adjust my stop. The low of this flag was 127.60. I would adjust my stop now to 49. If it breaks below 50, the mental support of 127.50, I want to have my stop there. And now I'm up almost $1 per share on my remaining 125 shares. Okay, so now we've got, look at this ask, 2,700 shares. We want to see that. We want to see volume come in and take it down. When we start seeing selling up here, that makes me a little nervous. I want to see a buyer come in and take it down. Take some size. So depending on how far up I am, sometimes I'll throw some shares right at 95, 97, 98. So I can be one of the ones that's selling close to the highs in case it does pull back in, and that was the high of day. And if it does end up breaking 28 and ripping, then that's awesome, and I'll get more profit on my remaining position, but I was at least able to lock up some profit up there near the highs. But still, my trailing stop is 127.49. 125 shares left. Flip back over to BBBY. That's coming in too hard, so that's no good. Nothing there. And yeah, you could have maybe shorted it, but just focusing on trading with the direction of the market, at least for this video lesson here. The stop at 127.49 is very similar to setting a stop at 99 when you're long.
Oh man.
It's just below mental support of the half dollar. So we get mental support at whole dollars and half dollars. Whole dollars are stronger than half dollars, but we still get some mental support at half dollars. So if we broke below 50, next mental support is all the way down at 27. So that's why I would stop at 49. That's a mental support issue. It's not based on the low of a candle. If I was going to use the low of the candle, the previous low of this candle is 127.11, which was the bottom of the flag back here. But again, I'd be giving back almost $1 off the highs. So I want to be more aggressive. Now I only have 125 shares. Okay, and now I'm out. Okay, so now I'm out of the trade. I booked my profit, and I can keep this on watch or wait for the next trade. So with my stops, so I have Control S is stop, and I'll just tab down and place it wherever I want, and that is a marketable order. It's a market order. Okay, so now if I had set my low at, if I'd kept it at the low of 12 back here, we can see what would happen. I think I saw it on the level 2. I definitely saw 12, but doesn't look like any orders went off down there. Alright, so hopefully this helps you understand a little bit more of what I'm looking at when I'm watching the level 2. It is complicated, it is a little confusing, it takes time to watch it. But we want to focus, of course, on the most important things: risk management, choosing the right stocks, and choosing the right patterns. So for risk management, I wanted to make sure I wasn't risking more than my max amount. For choosing the right stocks, Green Mountain Coffee, this is a momentum stock on high volume. We've got some news happening here. Choosing the right patterns, I'm looking at small flat top breakouts on the 1 minute And the only reason I'm using the 1 minute chart on this is because this is trading on heavy volume due to
Natural gas
news.
storage in 5 minutes at 10:30.
Natural gas storage. All right, turn that down. All right, so if you do have any questions, feel free to email me, daytradewarrior@gmail.com. We'll get this video lesson uploaded here in just a few minutes.